Oh yeah, brother. Appreciate your time, man.
Yeah,
Juggling,
of
juggling a
course.
couple of kids, juggling a hell of a lot more. But I appreciate your time, mate.
Yeah, most definitely.
I want to jump into the term obsession.
Yeah.
What does it mean to you?
Well, I think when you deal with the type of people that I end up dealing with on a daily basis and coaching, elite level athletes and anybody that's in kind of like the top level of their sport or profession, when you kind of get to it, you have to be somewhat obsessed in order to be where you're at. And so, my thing with myself would say in terms of the coaching thing, it's like whenever you're doing anything or between things, you're kind of still having those thoughts going on in the back of your head of the little things that you're planning to do, tweak, improve. I go on a walk and or even if I'm running, because I do a lot of long distance running now, you still have those like little thoughts going through your head of like the little things you want to tweak with an athlete here or there. And you're kind of constantly thinking about it or things I want to do for the affiliate track with that. So on my side, it's like kind of health and fitness has been my entire life. And so it's kind of one of those things where it's hard not to be obsessed and to just constantly think about it. And what I see from the athletes is like they're so obsessed, the top level athletes, that they're, every single part of their being is about getting to that next level, and pursuing, what their ultimate goal is. And I think that, realistically, like you hear it from like Kobe Bryant's. So I'm taking athletes here like Kobe Bryant's, or you get kind of like the Tom Brady's of the world, and all you hear is kind of like people say that they're a little hard to be around sometimes,
Yeah.
because they are so obsessed, and that's what drives them, and that's kind of like the ultimate goal. And I think in this sport and the way that we've gotten and how competitive it's gotten, all the athletes that I know, that I get to deal with on a daily basis, they are obsessed and they're trying to go to that next level in terms of how they attack like even their day, their diet, the little tweaks on workouts. And it's no longer that thing where you can just kind of be casual and just go off of pure talent.
Yeah, man. I think we focus too much on the negative side of obsession.
Yeah.
I'm kind of fascinated by the pros of it,
Yeah.
right? It's only when you completely immerse yourself into something, whatever it is, whatever you're choosing is, because it's like an art form, right? Exercise is an art form, physics is an art form, painting, obviously, is an art form. You immerse yourself in it, and only when you all the way in, like you've completely bought in, you've thrown yourself off in that deep end, you've spent everything in your wallet, you then it's like you've earned the right to the last door, the last level of Mario Kart or something. And you're like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
cool. Now I've now got access to this bit of knowledge, this bit of information. And mainly that's about yourself,
Hmm.
right? Because you've put your back against the wall, hypothetically speaking. And
Yeah.
there's no other option. You've just got to fight your way out. You got to go forwards. And I think we don't spend enough time highlighting the pros of it because sometimes we got to do that, mate. Even in
Yeah.
everyday life, civilian life, we're not pro athletes. Like we don't make money from exercise. We don't make money from like Picasso, making paintings or whatever, NFTs or whatever the crazy stuff is. Yeah, but like there is benefits to be found. And I think it's developing the relationship with ourselves.
Yeah. And I mean, I would say like it's hard. I see a lot of people, talk about balance
Yeah.
in life, and it's like you strive for it to some extent, but I would say that even like with that, you don't see people get to high level, like the highest levels of anything, unless they create some sort of unbalance
Mm.
in their life and move it, to that next level, where they really are super highly focused on one specific thing. Because it's like a lot of times it's like, I've always kind of wanted to be, great at something. And so it's like you kind of get stuck in it. But then it's like if you get bored on one thing and you're like, okay, I want to be, a good runner, but then I want to do this thing, and then I want to like lift weights, but then I want to be good at gymnastics. Like what's kind of nice about that with like CrossFit is
Yeah.
it makes you better at it all. But when you're thinking about it in terms of growing up with sport, for me, it's like going after like all these multiple different modalities, and thoughts around it. It's like it just actually ends up making you, not the greatest, but you see the people that took it to that next level become obsessed, and then they're the ones that really like finally succeed because they were obsessed to a point that they didn't get distracted by some of the other things in their life, which like you said, you want to focus on the positives. There's positive and negatives to all of that, right? You'll see, like, they call it the tortured artist,
Yeah.
and I would say that, yeah, you're a little bit tortured by that obsession and by that need to do that. But at the same time, it's also what makes you you, and also what makes you great at what you do. I definitely will say my wife kind of gets annoyed at how obsessed I am with coaching, health, fitness, and getting into that, and kind of, it's always on my mind. It's like the next thing that I'm thinking about doing. And she wishes I was probably a little more balanced, but you know, it's what's driven me my entire life. So it's kind of one of those things where you just got to kind of lean into it, and you hope that the people around you accept you for you.
Yeah, I think you do have to lean into it. Yeah, there's to a point where if it's negatively impacting the people around you and
Yeah,
yourself, because there is a point where you do have to pull the handbrake, and
yeah,
be like, this is a little too much, right?
yeah,
And then that's when we need that support system around us to and have the trust in those people to be like, yo, listen here, mate, this is a little too much. Pull the parachute, otherwise you're gonna free fall into your bloody doom. You're like, okay, no problem.
yeah.
But I think, yeah, balance is a really funny one, right? And I think that's achieved when we zoom out.
Mm-hmm.
Balance is a series of very unbalanced times. And if you zoom out long enough, it's like, oh, it's just this homeostatic line that just kind of goes around a set point, right? It's like, yeah, we're not
Yeah,
just level this whole time. I think everybody's searching for this levelness. It's why people, well, sometimes it's why people grab towards the medication route of let me numb myself out, or the drink route, let me numb myself out, let me go high then low, let me go for an up or a down. Or, they try and escape themselves, right? It's like, no, no, no.
yeah,
We're supposed to do this weird thing, the waves. Go to the beach, go look at the ocean. Like the tide comes in and out twice a day. That's what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to go out. It's going to come back in again. It's going to go up and down when it does that. And we're the same, So sometimes we might have to go, okay, we got to put this to the side, and we're all in on coaching. Okay, cool. Then you got to put that to the side. Then you're all in on whatever.
yeah,
That's balance. Zoom out, you're balanced. You've had a balanced life. But when you zoom in, you're a bit
yeah.
crazy.
Get a little lost.
Why do you do what you do, man?
I mean, like I said, it's been kind of like a lifetime of going down that road. And I would say in terms of the coaching aspect, it's funny. It's like a roundabout way to get to where I've been. But I think that's a lot of people that have wound up in the coaching realm. I didn't think it was something that I could actually make a living doing and make a career doing at the time. One thing I'll say that's great about CrossFit is that it professionalized the coach to a large extent. Kind of in the fitness world, there were personal trainers, but honestly, like the way the standards, the thought process, the way that it was held up from what I knew growing up, like with people at a local gym or whatnot doing it, it was definitely like a transitory thing that didn't seem like a career, where it's just people kind of doing it. The gym takes 85% of whatever you make, and you're making basically nothing, and it's more just to kind of get a free gym membership or whatever. But I will say that one thing that made me fall in love with CrossFit and the idea of it was that coaches were seen as real professionals that cared about the members that were in, at least in the gym that I was in. And I think that's something that I've been trying to keep promoting, because you see some gyms kind of still water it down in terms of what the coaching expectations are for within their affiliates. And my thing has always been the expectation. So when I ran a gym, it was, I don't want 8 to 10 coaches. I want 3 to 4 professional coaches that
Yeah.
want to do it as a career, and I'd rather pay them well and make them work a lot than have 8 to 10 coaches that are working 2 to 3 hours here and there, and wanting a free gym membership and just wanting to say that they're a coach rather than actually like really care about the community that they're in. And so one thing that's kind of like what I fell in love with, which is why I do what I do, is because I really do believe that like in all honesty, I hate going to the doctor.
You and me
I
both.
I should get a checkup, but it's one of those things where I would rather try to keep people out of the hospital than worry about them in it. So I was thinking about being a nurse at one point, or going like nurse practitioner, PA, something like that. But when it all came down to it, I was offered the coaching job when I was thinking about going into nursing school or trying to do something on the medical side. And I'd rather again keep people out of it than try and worry about um, you know so that's what it really comes down to, is leaning into people, helping people and developing, a good relationship with health and fitness has been my passion, and it's been something that I really love. And then being able to kind of even lean into that on like the professional side, where I get kind of both, which is nice because I get to develop the affiliate side, but then I also have um, this side with the professional athletes so that I can actually work into something that's really fun, which is like higher level coaching, as well as developing health and fitness for the greater community in terms of on the affiliate level.
Mate, I love it. And let's be honest, GPP and sport is two separate things.
Yeah.
They're like two separate entities that kind of walk hand in hand, but in different directions. And
Yep.
it's like, well, if we're looking at health and well-being, yeah, we're going to go general physical preparedness. We're going to go well-rounded. We're going to talk about food. We're going to try and keep you out of the hospital and all that type of nonsense. And if we're talking about sport, like, it's probably not the healthiest of decisions to do, especially if you're always like kicking the living shit out of your body and doing all this. It's like, you want to look at unhealthy individuals, look at a rugby pitch, look at a football pitch.
Yep.
Like, these are not healthy individuals. Yeah, they're relatively, probably healthier than somebody who doesn't move off the couch, but we're also going to have downturns on that. And I think I love the idea of professionalizing coaching. It's a conversation I've been having for the past frigging 10 years of like, how do we do this? Or at least how do we start on the path of like, somebody doesn't just show up 2 minutes before the class, reads from a whiteboard, says, well done, see you tomorrow. It's like, no, you can't. You can't charge someone good
Sorry.
money for that.
Sorry, the baby's waking up. I'm gonna have to take just a quick pause,
Hey, go do it.
if that's all right.
Of
Yeah,
course.
and I'm gonna put him on the carrier.
Hey, go do it.
All right. Sorry.
Hey, don't
Just
apologize.
yeah, get the little baby man. I'll be right back.
All right, brother. See you in a minute.
Sorry.
No. I'm not your mom. Don't apologize to me. All right, we're back, brother. Professionalizing coaching. It's something
Yeah.
that really lights a bloody tea light underneath me nuts. I'm like, I'm in. I am all in. How do we get better? As us, how do we help people get better on the floor? How do we get better as athletes? How do we grow this thing? How do you get the bigger purse? Whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
How do we progress? That's what we're trying to go for, right? Progress. Like, how do we do this thing? And
Yeah. It's a lot of it, like you said, like get the purse. Like a big thing for me, like because I've thought about it kind of on my side, and I've talked to gym owners, and it's hard because what we're trying to do, right, is create a wider community of people, like-minded people that are doing the same thing, creating this big entity of all these gyms, but you need them to be financially successful.
yeah, you do.
And as a gym owner, what I would want to do if I was opening up my own gym, like I actually think that at some point I will go back into like gym ownership. But what I want to do is create it in such a way that it allows the coaches underneath me to be financially successful and grow their own brand per se, within the realm of what I'm doing, to the point where it's almost like I can teach them and create a learning environment where I'm actually excited for all of their progress and them wanting to maybe do their own thing at one point or open their own gym, or it's just such a cool space and allows for almost even their own development in a way where they want to stay, and grow that same gym environment, that it becomes, a very good kind of like cohesive mix, rather than just people jumping out and doing their own thing, which I've seen happen a lot of times with a lot of gym cultures that are done well, is that you'll see it's a successful business model, but the person at the top is still, the only person really making money. And then the
Yeah.
people underneath are learning a lot, but they're still like, there's a level that they can't get past, because there's something that's created, and it's in order for the gym owner to actually be financially successful. And it would be nice if like you could figure out a way. And that's one thing that I've been kind of thinking about. That's like that obsession of like, how could I create something where, I could open up a gym, develop coaches that actually want to be around almost for like a lifetime, if we created something that where they could actually really be financially successful, and they didn't have to take on the stress of gym ownership by themselves, which is definitely one thing that happens with a lot of gym owners out there.
Let's be honest, man. Not everybody wants to own a gym.
Yeah,
Not everybody wants to
yeah,
go out and open it and go on their own. I was like, no, you
yeah,
don't have to go on your own. Let's build this thing together. This is not
yeah,
me in the high castle, and like you all work for me. It was like, no, we
yeah,
all work for the people. We work for
yeah,
the people walking through the door. This is a service industry, right? Service-based
yeah,
industry. It's not a product. We don't offer this thing. We offer a service. And
yeah,
if we able to change that mindset just simply just 2 minutes before a class. Oh, this is now going to be a service for whoever turns up, one person or 40 people.
yeah,
Okay, cool. I'm going to service these people for the next 1 hour. You see the smile on their face when they leave, mate. And like, there's so many things we can learn for this thing. So many things, so many local businesses that we can then help through having like a foundation and a HQ of a gym of
yeah.
physical and mental well-being. Fingers
Yeah, and
crossed.
I think that that's what's going to create the longevity of it, because
Yeah.
I'll admit, like the AI stuff, and the depersonalization and dehumanization of a lot of jobs, and communities to some extent, where all these people are now working from home. And it's like, I work from home a lot, but man, do I love going to the gym and working out at the gym, and working within the gym environment and being around people.
Yeah, dude.
And
Yeah.
I think that that's like one of the biggest things. It's like, you see all these people after COVID, just, they bought gym equipment, they're working out from home, they're watching the Peloton or the Nordic track people like working out at home. And it's like, that's not community, that's not coaching, that's trying to get motivated by, a talking box, which is not the same, and it's not what you get. And I think back in the day, there's a guy that wrote a book, Chris Kresser. I don't know if you've ever
Chris
heard of him,
Cresser.
but
That rings a
yeah,
bell.
he was like a holistic like health professional. But he wrote a book that actually, he did a lot of anthropological kind of studies, and he was showing that actually, being isolated socially is just as bad as smoking like 12 cigarettes a day.
Jesus Christ.
And so it's like one of those things where you're looking at, you're like, man, it's actually healthier to go out and have a drink with some buddies,
Yeah.
and talk, rather than being the person that's at home measuring my macros and drinking water.
Mm.
And I think that you take that in, and you like don't have to do it that one way or the other, but like you actually go in where you're excited to be around those people and go into the gym and develop that culture. And you need to develop those coaches that create that care, in your gym environment. And so like when you say like, why do I do what I do, it's like, that's the stuff that fires me up, I want to tell everybody, like, dude, get out of your house.
Mm.
you know, get in, like, go be part of a community, whether or not that's like, okay, join a running club and be outside, doing the thing. The
Mm.
gym is just such a great culture, because what you do is you get a bunch of people from different life experiences all in one spot. And you have people like stretching out afterwards, talking about things. Like, I can't tell you how many cool things I had when I was running in a gym where, I had a plastic surgeon where I literally had one of my coaches demoing, wasn't paying attention, hits his shin on a box,
Oh,
splits
nice.
it wide open. I texted the plastic surgeon. I was like, hey man, can you stitch him up? He's like, hey, have him just drive over. And he like just drove over and just like stitched him up right there, because the guy didn't have any health insurance,
Yeah.
so like, Stuff like that. Like I had a spinal surgeon
Wow.
who, worked out of my gym, that was one of the nicest guys ever, and like, helped a few people, gave them discounts on things. And then you have people that are like real estate agents within your gym that like, give you the bet, like kind of figure out how to, work the system a little bit better that you can in real estate. And that's the type of stuff that you get like in our type of environment and in our type of coaching, is meeting people that you never would meet on a daily basis. And that's the intangible stuff that I think is what we're trying to create in our greater community, and trying to allow that to like still be a stranglehold. Like, and that's the passion that like you said, and the obsession of why I do what I do,
Mm.
is because I do fully believe in it, that it is actually something that is helping people to a greater extent, not just health and fitness, like, overall.
Mm. It's a leveler, right? Fitness is a
Yeah.
leveler. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter who you are. It brings you in and it just draws that line and says, okay, everybody stand with the toes on the line. It's like, it
Yeah.
doesn't matter if you got $1 billion in your account or you're friggin' homeless. Like, it's like everybody stood on this line. You look to your left and your right and you're like, oh, we're all very similar. We're all kind of here ready to do our thing, slam our
Yep.
face into the ground and call it a burpee. And
Yeah, for sure.
like, I was speaking about it with my missus yesterday. I was like, just debriefing from the day and I was like, this is why we do what we do. It's like, well, what do you mean? I was like, well, it bleeds off into outside world. Like it really goes beyond dumbbells and barbells and skipping ropes and scores on a whiteboard and a high five and a fist bump. And it's like, that is like the catalyst. Fitness is the catalyst to improve lives. And
Yep.
it is the social interaction, and I think we've stumbled across it. I don't think it was, I think we put everyone together, they go a little bit harder, and then intensity is that secret sauce, right? And you're like, okay, cool. But we also stumbled across something else of like, oh, we need this camaraderie, we need
Yep.
this like, commitment to each other of like, oh no, we're going to be ride or die, like we're going to be here regardless. I'll see you again next week, and
Yep.
I'll help you move house. And oh, I heard that your mom died, and don't worry, I'm not. I'm knocking on your door before you've even said no, no, I'm okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's those literally tangible relationships that we're missing. Like rather than a cubicle and an interaction with a typewriter or a bloody laptop or something, and everyone says you're shit at your job and you need to work more hours for less pay. It's like, no, no, you want to walk in. How was your day?
Yep.
Oh, it was all right. No, no, no. Quit the bullshit. How was your day?
Yeah.
Oh, it was really shit. Why was it shit? Talk to me. Like, what do you
Yeah.
need? Do you need a beer? Do you need a coffee? You need a hug? Like, whatever it is, right? People are innately good, I think. Like, and if you
I
don't
do
think
agree with
so,
that. Yeah.
walk into a CrossFit gym, man.
Yeah.
You know, walk into a CrossFit gym. I know that the more professional we can make this thing as a gym owner, making more money, business, like making it more of a business, as coaches, making it more of a professional coach, as a bloody um, receptionist, however you want to structure this thing, the more people we can give that to, and the more people we can help. And I think it's beautiful, mate. You know, maybe we're just the ADHD kids that couldn't really pass exams, that like to work,
Yeah.
go to work in shorts and trainers. Or maybe we're onto something, but I don't know. I'm gonna die on this hill, bro.
Yeah, for sure.
Mate, I got 3 questions.
Yeah.
What's the greatest piece of life advice you've ever received?
Whew. Um, Greatest piece of life advice I've ever received. Man. I don't even know if it was like really said to me. Um, but I would say that my grandfather, um, just in terms of like life lessons and the way that he conducted himself, was one of those things like where it's like based on everything that he did in terms of like the integrity that he held, was really where I would say that the advice came from. And I can't tell you like like that's probably the best thing is like without actually saying it, but just by the way that he lived and like what his expectations were. Follow up with what you say, and your actions are who you are rather than what your words are who you are. And he lived through his actions, 100% of the time. And as soon as you stepped out of line in terms of like what you said you were and how you acted, he definitely would let you know. And he just expected a huge amount of integrity, loyalty, and just, follow through, I guess, would be the biggest thing. So, it's kind of one of those things, if you say you're going to do something, follow through and always be that person that's going to show up. And that's probably my biggest life advice is, you really, like, your actions are who you are. So, lead with your actions, and follow through with what you say you're going to do.
I like that a lot, and I agree with it, man. I
Yeah.
really do. Follow through, something that a lot of
Yeah.
people miss.
Yeah.
If I say it, it's all good. It's like, no, mate, now the work actually begins. Go out there and do
Exactly.
something
Yeah.
about it. What's the worst piece of life advice you've ever received?
Um, Worst piece of life advice. This one's going to be, money wise and probably, education wise, which is, I was told, I think it's basically in the States, for a lot, is like, you're told that you can go to college and you don't need to know what your major is or what your plans are, going in. It's just like, hey, just go in, get the education, and that's going to be the thing that like provides the most benefit for you. And you don't have to have those, like a real set plan
Mhm.
with it. You just kind of like free flow it. And I'm like, man, I honestly, wish I would have gone to a community college, figured out what I wanted to do, and then worked in a trade school or thought about exactly what I wanted to do at college in terms of what job I was going to get. Um, and that would have been the biggest part of life advice that I wish I would have received back then, which is, hey, let's figure out what you want to do with your life, and then let's go to school to enhance that and to learn that trade or to develop those skills and go after that thing.
Yeah.
You just shouldn't just go straight to college and, get a mountain of debt when you have no clue what the hell you're doing with it.
Mm.
Right. And that's like, honestly, if you look at society, especially in the United States, everybody's just in debt. And so much of it is student debt because they had no clue what they were going to do with their lives. They were just told, just, hey, like, just go. But it's honestly a for-profit system that just keeps exponentially going up.
Yeah, you guys over there have got a crazy system in terms of education, right? Like
It's insane,
it,
honestly.
it's
Yeah,
mental in the UK, and then I look over and I'm like, holy shit, what happened over there?
yeah. No, I don't know. I think that some people got a hold of it and were too much
Yeah,
for profit, and so they're just, trying to raise that bar.
yeah, as it is, right? Let's
Yeah,
yeah. The men in the high castle will do their thing. We're just gonna build it from the ground up, mate. I'd
yeah,
rather keep my hands and my feet in the muck. It's more personable with the people. You know what I mean?
yeah.
But, hey, whatever. What are the three words you would tell your younger self?
3 words I would tell my younger self. I would say, man, 3 words though. That's the hard part.
Yeah.
3 words. Patience, invest, um, so patient, invest, and then, say, man, uh, and trust.
Mm.
So I don't know. I guess if you expand on that, it's, I think that, we always want to get to the end product faster than, what it really takes sometimes, and that actually kind of shoots you in the foot if you take like really thinking about the long horizon, and, how much like there's just small gains and continuing progress, and then waiting for it and knowing what your ultimate goal is. Like I said, having an actual plan and being able to take a long run at it. Invest goes right with that. I wish I would have just every single money I made when I didn't actually need to spend money. Wish I invested that early on. And then you can kind of go with that. That's something that no one ever teaches you. At least, that's something I will teach my sons. And then trust is more trusting family, trusting friends, and showing that trust, I think, creates a lot of loyalty and love within all your relationships. Is building trust and showing trust, which is why I use that word.
That's beautiful, mate. Thank you. Thank you so much for your time, brother. This has been an honor and a privilege. And thanks for taking some time out of family time as well.
Yeah, of course, man. Well, thank you.
Appreciate it. Hopefully we cross paths soon. We'll get some fitness on. And I'm more than likely learn a hell of a lot from you. So, brother, thank you.
All right. Thank you so much.
Take it easy, brother. Get some sleep and I'll see you soon.
All right. Yeah, totally. See you soon.
See you later, everybody.